Welcome back to Operating System and Linux. This is session 4, and today we are going to start with a new topic, and the topic is regarding the operating system services. Hi, I'm Manibhushan D'Souza. Let's look at what are the services that are provided by operating system. Now we know that operating system is controlling many of the components, and it must provide us with many services so that we can use our system in an efficient way. So operating system provides many services. The one important service that the operating system is supposed to provide is help the user to execute their programs. That's one of the main goal of the operating system. So it must be possible for an user to conveniently execute their program, and not only that, it must be convenient for a programmer to develop their program and execute them on the operating system. To do so, operating system provides many of the services. One of the service that is provided by the operating system is the ability to execute the program. That is called as the program execution. This service helps the user to load their program into memory and run their programs. And not only that, it helps the user to terminate or end the execution of the program. Either the program may end normally, or because of some error, the program may even abruptly or abnormally end in the middle of the execution. The next service that is provided by the operating system is regarding the input output operation. We know that many devices are connected to the computer, and it is not possible for us to efficiently manage those resources. In particular, it is not possible for us to efficiently manage the input output devices. So, whenever we run our program may require some input output operation. For example, we may want to read from a tape drive, or we may want to display the content onto the monitor or CRT. Now, the special functions are required for us to use those resources. For example, when we want to read something from the tape head may not be at the right position. In that case, we may have to rewind the tape and restart it. If you are reading from the hard disk or a disk for that matter, you may have to place your head at a particular sector or a particular track. This requires some function or additional function that must be available so that the operating system can interact with the device and tell the device that you are supposed to initialize the device and then do the operation. Now, generally, users do not directly interact with the input output devices, and the operating system provides the services to the user so that they can directly interact with the input output devices via operating system. One of the most visually seen part of the operating system is the file system. We generally create our files and store our information inside those files. Now, these files must be read by the program, as well as there must be a provision for a program to write onto these files. Apart from that, the operating system must provide a service to either create a file or to delete a file by specifying their names. The next service that is provided by the operating system is regarding the communication. Now we know that whenever we are executing our program, the program in execution is called as process, and the operating system runs more than one process at a time. Now when there are more than one process which are executing, there may be need that one process may want to interact with the other process, and this can be achieved by the exchange of information between the two executing program, and the operating system must provide a service so that one existing process can interact with the other executing process. There are two ways in which we can achieve this. One is we can have a common pool. So we can have a common memory so that a process 1 writes into this common memory, and the process 2 can read from the same memory, and the same thing goes here. The process 2 can write into the memory and the process 1 can read it back. So this is called as shared memory. So in the shared memory, a memory is shared between them. Other way of communication is the process may send some message to the other process. Now, what is the format of the message? How this message is sent from one side to the other, that are all handled by the operating system. So operating system provides a technique by which a process can send a message to the other process, and other process can receive that particular message, and this is one of the service that is provided by the operating system. The next one is the service regarding the error detection. The operating system must be aware that executing program can end up in a error. So error can be because of the hardware failures like a power failure or a memory error, or maybe a input output device failure at runtime. So for example, you may have a printer and the printer may go out of paper. So this is a runtime error. Or when the program itself is running, the program may create some of the error. For example, it may create some arithmetic overflow operation or division by zero error, or maybe accessing a memory location which it is not supposed to access, that is a memory location violation. Or a program may take a lot of CPU cycle. All of them are the errors, and the operating system must take appropriate action whenever such error occurs so that the program execute correctly and in a consistent way. These are all the services that are provided by the operating system to the programmer so that they can execute the programs. Apart from that, the operating system is supposed to provide additional system functions. These functions will ensure that the operating system makes the efficient use of the hardware and it performs the operation in an efficient way. Now we know that in order to increase the efficiency of the computer, more than one program has to be executed. Not only that, if there are more than one user, every user may create more than one process. In that case, there will be many processes running on the operating system. And the operating system must share all its resources in an efficient manner so that the overall efficiency of the system increases. In order to do so, operating system provides some special function. One such function is the allocation of resources. When there are multiple jobs which are running at the same time, every job requires different kinds of resources, and the operating system must efficiently provide the resources to the running program or the running process so that it performs the operation in a quick and fast way. Okay, some of the resources that the most of the running process required is the memory, access to the file system, or maybe input output operation. The next kind of service that the operating system must provide is the accounting service. Now accounting is to keep track of who is using the system and for how long that system has been used and for what kind of resource that are being used up by the user. So accounting is required to keep track of which user use how many and which kind of computer resources. Now, this accounting is nothing but keeping a record of all the activities that are occurred so that we can see who is using the system, and we can also use this accounting information to either upgrade the system or to improve the efficiency of the operating system. So if we find that at a particular resource or particular resource is being used heavily by many of them, then we can put more such resources so that the system will not end up in a bottleneck. Next kind of service that is provided by the operating system is the protection. And we know that when the more than one process is running concurrently, there can be a malicious activity that can happen. So it should not, the operating system should not allow one process to interfere with the working of the other. Also, the running process, that is the user process, must not disturb the operations of the operating system itself. So there must be a protection. So protection will ensure that all the resources are accessed in a controlled manner. The protection is not only required for the process which are running on the system, that is internally, as well as the security may be also required for the external users who are from the outside. So we know that computer can be connected to the network, and the resources or the process can be shared with the other. Now generally the protection is done in the form of authentication. So only authenticated users are allowed to perform the task. And generally, the authentication is done in the form of a username and password. That's all in this session. We will meet again in the other session. For more references, please use the Galvin's book on the operating concept. Thank you for your interest.